everybody. We're back. It's the closing table time for another episode. I'm here with my boy, Ben Hawkins. Ben, let's get the party started. How you doing?
Doing well, Doug. I hope you are.
I'm doing great. Just a reminder for everybody, we are sponsored by our presenting sponsors, Cornerstone Home Lending. That's Lend with Ben Hawkins, and the Oceanaire Realty. So glad to be here again. We're ready to get things rolling. Let's start with something new. Ben, big trend happening over the last week. Multiple offers are back in real estate. What do you think about that, brother?
I mean, I think it's great, right? Competition in the market. People putting in their best offers against somebody else's. Trying to see who's who has the best one. I think there's some adventure in that, right? When you're up against multiple offers. It really is. Over the years, I've noticed it forces the clients to really think long and hard about what they're going to present the first time. Perhaps that low ball offer of $50,000 less won't work out because of the competition. So, I think it's great for the market. Competition's great in anything, any line of business. And I'm just really excited to see it. It gives me optimism to show that the spring home buying season is off to a roaring start. And hopefully that trend continues throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the nose. And from our perspective as agents, I can tell you I had a listing go live on Friday. We had 3 offers over the weekend, lots of showings. We called for highest and best yesterday at 5 o'clock. We're under contract. That hasn't happened a lot over the last 2 years. So that's a really good sign, especially for sellers there's been so much inventory that homes have really been sitting. We even talked, I believe, last week, 44% more sellers than buyers on the market. So when you see things like that start to happen, it means that competition is good. Exactly what you said, especially for sellers, but also it shows buyers are feeling more confident about their purchasing power. Right. 2 out of the 3 offers we got were loans. 1 was cash, but the other 2 were loans. So that means we're not just relying on people that are cash flush on making the deals. So I think it's a great indicator. I think it also can be a wake up call for buyers that, hey, maybe that buyer heavy market is ending. More people are entering the marketplace now. You better be serious. You better be ready to make a decision, and you better listen to your agent when they tell you comps and not throw low balls, because the data is going to tell you which direction to move in. So I think overall for real estate, for consumers, it's a really, really great sign, and hopefully more to come.
Totally agree, Doug.
All right, well, let's move on into your approved. What do you think about this idea? It seems like in some places, in some industries, maybe even in the States now, it's been more common overseas, that 4-day work weeks are gaining traction. Now, you're never going to work 4 days. I'm never going to work 4 days. We're working 8 days. It just is part of the industry we're in. But what do you think about this as something that applies to, the regular corporate day-to-day world?
I mean, I'm cool with it because, honestly, like you said, Doug, you and I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, literally. Like, we're always there. Think about how many overseas, active duty military that we've helped over the years, where they're over in Japan or somewhere, at one of our stations, and like you're on the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember those days. I'm sure you do too. I think if we're looking at the whole ball of wax on this, I'm good with it. I'm absolutely okay with a 4-day work week. I think there's got to be a way for those folks to be able to have something that's good for them. A 3-day weekend is always smiled upon, not frowned upon, right? But smiled upon.
Right.
And here's the thing, like, I would rather say, you know what, I don't work that kind of schedule, so I'm going to kind of keep my opinion out of it, so to speak, and let those folks decide, right? Because they're the ones that are there having to commit to the 5 days or the 4. So I think whatever's better for the worker, for the company, collectively, and also you got to look at family life too. Think about that extra day, what that allows you to do. Like, say you worked Monday through Thursday, Friday could be a chore day while the kids are at school, getting stuff done around the house and all that. So that way you can have a more of a relaxing weekend. So I think it's great. What about you, Doug? What are your thoughts?
Well, I can tell you I had a little bit of a test case scenario with it when I actually worked at UNCW before real estate. During the summer, we had half-day Fridays. And so to kind of accommodate for it, we had 30-minute lunches Monday through Thursday. But I'll tell you, it sure as heck was worth it to get off at 11:30 on Friday, because a lot of times we'd head to the beach. That was before kids. Amanda would have Friday off. So our weekend would get started early. It was fantastic. At the end of the day, in my opinion, unless you're in a customer-facing industry where you kind of, something like sales maybe, or more things like we have to do where you can get your work done, then it makes sense, because it's really about productivity. It shouldn't be about punching a clock. Now, certainly there are some industries where that applies, but otherwise, and I think the reason it's kind of picking up speed is maybe because of the whole COVID pandemic and the work from home, people realize, look, this isn't about being in a location for a certain amount of time. It's, is this person competent enough to get the work done? And at the end of the day, I think that probably means more than anything else. The bottom line is the work getting done. But what I will say is, you're right. We work 7 days a week. But I also work really hard to make sure that I manage my calendar. And I know you do too. So, Friday afternoon when it's boat season, you can pop out there because you're on top of your stuff, right? Same thing for me. I love to tell people, one of the things that I love about being in real estate is, since I got into it, I've never missed the opportunity to chaperone one of my kids' field trips, and that's because I can manage my calendar and do the other things I want to do. So I think if we can give that power maybe to other people as well in other industries, it's really a great sign.
I totally agree.
So
I do too. And I want to say something on your, when you talked about being there for all the field trips and stuff, I totally get that. And actually, this Thursday, I get to be the substitute teacher for an hour while the teachers have a teacher appreciation day luncheon at school. So like now, you're field tripping it, chaperoning, and I'm substituting, man. It's kind of cool.
God help you.
Yeah, God bless those kids, man. They're going to know mortgage industry inside and out just for 1 hour.
No, Doug, I left out the best part. I get them for lunch and recess. So this is perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. And I did this a couple years ago too. I've done it like twice. And the kids are my buddies, man. We're all having fun. Like they're in a great mood because they're outside at recess. So I get them at the sweet spot.
I hear you. I love that. Well, let's keep the train moving. Let's move to On the Hunt. Sounds like the idea of cutting subscriptions is starting to bump up for folks. I know that we've talked about subscriptions a little bit before. It really is just fatiguing when you have to go to a different app for everything. And it's not just TV. There are subscriptions for everything. I have Amazon subscription for some soft drinks that I like to drink, Zevias. But subscriptions are everywhere. What subscriptions do you have, if you have any, outside of streaming? And have you cut anything recently?
I mean, I've cut a lot. Outside of like just television, I mean, I've got like Amazon Prime or whatever, which that's still TV, but with the shipping stuff when you order products off Amazon, I did have some dating app ones, Doug, to be honest with you, that I had subscriptions to, but I dismantled those because it wasn't working out so well. Plus I'm just way too busy with Luke. So anyway, I'm trying to get rid of as much as I can because it just seems like you let it get away from you. Like before, you could blink and suddenly you've got $300 or $400 a month coming out in subscriptions to all these different things. And a lot of them too give you the free 7-day trial, or they do like the first month for like $10 or $10.99. And then after 30 days, it jumps up to like $29 a month. So before you know, you can be buried in those subscriptions. So I've been trying to cut back as much as I can. I think it's a shame that with all the TV technology that we have to have all these different apps to watch different things. So there's got to be something that can be halfway centralized at a reasonable cost.
Well, heck, we wanted to get rid of cable, and we sure did, didn't we? And we got, sometimes you better be careful what you ask for, because now you got to subscribe to 10 things instead of one, right? It is what it is. I think the whole culture is, they want you to set it and forget it. So you got the auto pay and everything, and then you just forget that it's even coming out every month. And, that they got 1 million people signed up at $10 a month. They're doing great, right? So it's something I think you have to pay attention to and be aware of to make sure that that doesn't catch up on you. Well, thanks for sharing. Let's move it into another discussion. It's time to lock it in. It's race season. NASCAR recently started. Formula One kicked off this weekend. we talk a lot about sports, but we've never talked about racing before. So, are you a raise hell, praise Dell kind of guy? Do you like the Euros with the Formula John Gerard from Ricky Bobby? What's your take on racing?
I mean, honestly, Doug, I'm going to leave the NASCAR and the F1 to you. You're by far more the expert than I am. I never got into it. Now, being from Kentucky, where I'm from,
y'all race horses.
Race horses, but NASCAR at one point was huge in Kentucky. I'm sure it still is in certain pockets. The thing that I want to speak on this is NASCAR, how it was one of the hottest things going. And it seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but in the last 10 years, it has really fallen off a cliff as far as viewership and attendance and stuff like that. I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm getting. But I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for the Formula One and NASCAR drivers and the crew members. It's incredible work that they do. And the races are exciting. I just have trouble on a Sunday afternoon when I'm relaxing on the couch, not falling asleep during a 300 or 400 lap race. You know what I mean? That's where I struggle. But don't get me wrong, the last few minutes of it, man, it's extremely exciting. It's great. It's great entertainment, and I have a lot of respect for what they do.
Well, my parents were big NASCAR fans, and I can always remember coming home from church, eating dinner or eating lunch, putting on the NASCAR race. And the beauty of it is kind of like a baseball game. You can take a nap in the middle and still catch the end. I think
Right.
one of the things about NASCAR now is that the crashes are so prevalent and the restarts are so prevalent that, it kind of takes the drama out of the middle of the race. It seems like it always comes down to what happens at the end, and there's always a restart because of a flag or a crash or something like that, which I think takes away from it a lot. I do think you make a great point. Within the last 5 or 10 years, it seems like NASCAR hit maybe like its second apex or its second peak, and it has definitely dropped since then. We took the boys and my parents to a couple of races at Charlotte over the last few years. We did a regular race, the Coca-Cola 500, I think, or whatever it is. But then we also did the Roval, and that's where they redo the track and it goes through the infield. So it's more like a road race. Now, that was a lot of fun. Formula One, I think, is wild. It's crazy. But as much as people want to hate on NASCAR for, turning left the whole time, at least when you go see a NASCAR race, you can see the cars during the whole race.
Right.
Imagine going to a Formula One race and they go by every 2 minutes or something like that. That seems like more than an event than being at a race.
Yeah, that's like going to a marathon where people are running through the city and it's 26 miles. You can watch one part of it and see them go by once.
Right. That's it.
Obviously, they're doing laps and stuff like that on those tracks in F1. I get that. But yeah, I agree with you. That'd be a tough watch for me.
Well, Formula One now I think it has 3 races in the States. I think it's Vegas, maybe Dallas, and Miami. So I think popularity of Formula One is growing here. So my question for you to lock in today, who do you see being more popular over the next 10 years? Do you think NASCAR or do you think Formula One takes its place in the States?
I still think NASCAR. I think it's got at the end of the day, even though in my opinion the viewership has fallen off, I don't see anybody posting online like, hey, did you just see that NASCAR race, right? Like we'll do that about a UFC fight or a football game or basketball game, but NASCAR, I don't see that so much. I think NASCAR's got such a solid base, like people that just love it, that it's here to stay. In my own personal opinion.
And by the way,
it definitely has its base here.
Formula One, if you don't mind me interjecting, has really fallen off the cliff because they've gone environmental. They're using only biofuels now. They get half their horsepower from an EV motor. And these guys say this is not racing anymore. And they're wrecking them because the EV motors are so violent. And if you overcharge them, they blow you right into the rail, which happened in the first race. So they've gone nuts. They got away from the fundamentals of racing. They've gone on to world politics, and the drivers hate it.
Interesting.
What a shame. Who could have seen that coming? All right, let's keep it moving into due diligence. Ben, I'm gonna lob this one over to you. Mortgage trigger leads are now illegal. I know this is huge for you. I know we hate it when our clients talk about folks reaching out to them after you have run their credit. Explain to everybody exactly what this means.
Well, let me first explain what it was. Okay. So what was happening is anytime a mortgage company would pull your credit, we would do a tri-merge credit report. And the credit bureau companies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, were selling the fact that we pulled your credit. They have your email and your phone number, and they sold it to companies who would then call you relentlessly. Absolutely insane. So the bureaus were profiting not only because they charge to pull your credit, then they're selling your information to these trigger lead companies. I call them vultures. They literally, I would have clients literally that would send me screenshots of their phone after these people would get done calling, or not get done calling, but be in the act of it. Literally 50 to 100 phone calls within an hour. Insane. It really is. So I'm very glad it's illegal. I kind of wanted to explain, what it was and then what it means for our consumers. I'm so happy. I used to send folks to a credit opt-out screen where they could pre-select to be opted out for 5 years for any calls like that. It didn't always work, but it did help put a buffer there for most of it. But I mean, I'm so glad this is illegal. It's a horrible practice, and shame on the credit bureaus for allowing it to take place. And they profited off your misery, And also in the mortgage world, if I have a client that was referred to me by you, Doug, I don't need 10 other lenders or 20 other lenders calling this person that you referred to me just because we pulled their credit. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even know who this person is. It's not competition at that point. It's a nuisance. I'm all good with people getting second opinions, but like the overwhelming amount of calls, the things that these people would say to the consumer on the phone, it may turn them off from even wanting to buy a house. So thank goodness this is illegal. I'm really glad we talked about this today.
So give me just a little more insight. Who was it that made the decision, and is it active currently?
That's a great point. It actually started March the 5th. So it is illegal as of March the 5th to do this any longer. And it was something that the federal government passed. It was something that was lobbied for and seen as a great idea. And thank goodness common sense legislation came back into play in Washington. So really happy about it. It
can happen. It can happen. Look at there.
That's right.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Hey, Doug, real quick. Maybe it happened to one of the congressmen or women that they got stuck, getting called by 50 to 100 of them in an hour, and it made them think about it a little harder.
There you go. Well, hopefully they correctly indicated that they were buying a primary residence, if they were buying a primary residence and not the other ones. That's another topic we could talk about. Anyways, let's move on to fix this. Just switch it up a little bit. I thought this would be a cool topic to talk about. Ben, how often do you get your hair cut?
So I'm fortunate, Doug. I've got thick hair, and it's not balding, thank goodness. I've got plenty of other defects. However, hair is not one of them. I'm every 2 weeks because if I don't, I get a fade. Like if I don't, the side of my head looks like a big, like a tennis ball that's been hit way too many times, real fluffy, So I like to go every 2 weeks. Sometimes if I'm being lazy and not worrying about it, I'll do it in 3 weeks. But if it's 3 weeks, like it's way past time for me to have a haircut. How about you, brother?
You got to keep it tight, man. I probably go about every 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. It really just depends on what else I've got going on. Sometimes I'll book it after I have my last one. Sometimes I'll just kind of go with the flow like I'm going right now. It really just depends. Well, let me ask you this too. Follow-up question. How long have you been going to the same person?
So I don't go to the same person. I go to Great Clips, and every time. Here's the problem. I go and I find somebody I really like. And ironically, this lady's last name was Hawkins too, but no relation, but she was cool. So anyway,
nice.
I get somebody I really like, and then in 6 months, they either get promoted like to a management position, or this is all within the Great Clips umbrella, right? They either get promoted to management or they leave and go somewhere else. And I don't know where they went, because you don't like build that relationship of, hey, call me, to get a haircut, or you know what I mean? You walk in there and you use the app and all that. It's very formal. I like Great Clips because it's quick and easy. It's close to my home, but I can't seem to stick with the same one. I used to be religious about that though, Doug. I thought way too much of myself, where I felt like I had to get the haircut by the same person every single time. And it was going to make this immaculate, incredible difference. But how about you, man? Do you stick with the same person?
I switch it up every once in a while. I've been going to the same place probably for about 6 months now. Guy who does it is really great. I believe he's Russian. He doesn't have a lot to say, but he does take his time, which is great. Not that I've got a whole terrible lot to work with, but he keeps me looking presentable, I guess. So, it is what it is. We'll see. What's more important is that he does me right by my beard and keeps it looking good. So the hair, whatever, that's negotiable. The beard is non-negotiable. We got to keep the beard looking good.
Well, Doug, and the beard is looking spiffy, my friend, as always.
Appreciate it, brother. All right, let's keep it moving to counter offer. We talk about college sports all the time and NIL almost as much. Let's take it to the next level. With NIL going the way it is, should college athletes just become employees of the universities and colleges that they play for?
I mean, pretty much they are, really, right? It's. Yeah. I mean, they're not the way they're paid, but like they technically are. I mean, they're representing that school or institution. Yeah, I want to equate NIL to buying a house for a second, Doug. A while back, I had a gentleman call me who was getting paid NIL, and he wanted to buy a house. The problem was we couldn't qualify him off of the NIL money he was receiving because there's no 3-year continuance as in the form of a contract. Okay, you have to show a 3-year continuance or likelihood of continued employment, and if it's only 12 months, for that year, you're not going to. They won't be able to use it to help you with your debt to income ratio. So I want to first make that statement to say I think it'd be great if there was some type of a contract. You know what I mean? Like as far as a length of term, say, hey, you're signing with us just like the pros do. You're signing with us for 2 or 3 years or whatever the case may be. And here's how many millions or thousands of dollars you're going to receive. Then the NIL money, if it's a 3-year contract, can be used to qualify you for a mortgage. So it has its advantages too. So I kind of wanted to equate it to that a little bit, Doug, if that was okay. And, I think they are, to me, they're, in my eyes, they're representing the school. So therefore you're an employee. It should be set up that way for tax purposes or whatever as well, I would say.
Well, I think you made a great point, and that's a great comparison or example to use. I think that, there probably are contracts out there. I've seen it, at least one. But again, it was only for 1 year, so that continuance that you're talking about, the importance of that just isn't there. I think what's happening currently, my understanding is, the institutions or the individual collectives or whatever are coming up basically with their own agreements, and there's no standardized agreement. And while I think the NCAA has a lot of faults, this actually seems to be like something that they would actually be helpful with to come up with a standardized contract that all institutions are using. So all the athletes are being treated fairly. Now, and what I mean by fairly, and for the institutions as well, that we're using common language across the spectrum. Now, the amounts or whatever, of course, that's up to the particular situation. But I think one way the NCAA can help will be like, hey, let's come up with a document that everybody can use that makes sense, Right. But I don't know. I don't count on them to do a whole lot that makes sense anyways.
Their track record doesn't indicate as such, that's for sure.
It absolutely does not. All right, let's keep the train rolling into getting local. Ben, our Seahawks, brother. Not a good trip to D.C. Great season. Won the conference regular season. Bowed out to, I believe, 15-17 Campbell in the first round. And honestly, it wasn't even close. What happened, brother?
Well, when you shoot 2 for 18 from 3-point land, you're not going to win a game if you're the UNCW Seahawks this year. They don't play good enough defense, especially in the second half. We gave up 54 points to Campbell in the second half. We were up by 3. And at halftime, we were up by 3. It was 33-30. At one point in the first half, we were up by 12. It looked like smooth sailing. Then in the second half, Campbell went on a 16-2 run. You've got to be able to make some buckets. We couldn't hit shots. I'm severely disappointed for the kids on the team. Those guys are really good guys. Like, they treat the kids around the fans who are children at the games. They treat them so well. They treat the community really well. Everybody that I know that meets them, and I've met them, they're all very nice guys. And I just hate it for them. I don't understand the concept of not being able to fix the issues we've been showing later in the season defensively. I don't understand the inability to get some of that stuff corrected. I mean, Charleston, we were up by 14 points at halftime, Doug, which was the second to last game, the last home game of the season. And they came back and scored 56 points in the second half. and they beat us by 3. So, for me, it's been a joy and a pleasure to watch these guys. I listened to Nolan Hodge after the game. He was in tears, obviously, season coming to an end. I do believe they'll go to the NIT or a smaller tournament. I think it would be smart for them to do that. It'd be great exposure for the kids and for the program. So I highly encourage UNCW, if you get a bid to NIT or the CIA tournament, go and play. We love watching these kids, man. They're great. And I just hate it that it ended this way, because they could have beaten, in my opinion, if they got the right matchup in the NCAA tournament, Doug, they could have beaten a team or two. I really firmly believe that, especially if they're shooting well. But you can't shoot 2 for 18 from 3-point land and expect to win a ball game. It just isn't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame, and that's the beauty of kind of the mid-majors and the curse, as well as, you can be set up for these amazing runs, but if you don't get it done in your conference tournament, even if you have an amazing season, you're just not going to get that chance, at least not in the big dance. I do think it's a great idea if they go into the NIT for the exposure, but also to get that postseason experience for your kids that are returning the next year. So hoping for the best for them. But it does sound like their coach just signed an extension, which is a big move for UNCW to lock him up, right?
Yeah, Takayo Siddle just signed a 5-year extension. I personally kind of thought that he might start looking around, because he's had a lot of success. He was the CAA Coach of the Year this year. He led them to an NCAA tournament appearance last year. And was it 2023, Doug? They went to Rupp Arena and beat Kentucky in Rupp. So, I mean, he's done some incredible things since he's been a coach here. So, congratulations to Coach Siddle. We appreciate his passion and his love for the university.
Go Hawks. They'll be right back at the top of the conference next year. All right, let's go. Final walkthrough. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Ben, you got any Irish in you?
Yeah, I sure do. My grandfather was a McNally, or my mother a McNally, but they changed it when they came over from Ireland to Nally. So, yeah, I've got some Irish blood. When I used to drink, if you were with me during those periods of time, you'd see the Irish come out of me, I think, quite a bit, actually. But no, yeah, I've definitely, and St. Patrick's Day is a lot of fun. My birthday is like 8 days after St. Patrick's Day, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Getting older each year, just, really, it beats the alternative. But yeah, St. Patrick's Day, cool. I mean, there's a lot of parades. There's a lot of fun in the community. The luck of the Irish. I think it's great. And I appreciate, celebrating the Irish heritage.
Yeah, I think it's great that we have these holidays throughout the year that, represent different cultures or backgrounds, et cetera. It's a lot of fun. We can make it our own while paying homage to another culture. And I'm all about celebrating the Irish as long as it doesn't involve Notre Dame.
I knew that was coming, Doug. I just knew it. The
I set it up for you.
Football holdouts. Yeah, you did. You teed that one up, man. Love it.
All right, let's move into closing time. So the ACC tournament starts today, actually. Today is Tuesday. The reason we're not taping tomorrow, which we usually tape on Wednesday, is because I'm going to the tournament tomorrow. I'm going to get down there and endure some punishment. Winslow is on spring break, so we're going to roll down there and watch us take on the winner of Stanford versus Pitt, and hopefully we can turn around this ship that is headed into the complete wrong direction, maybe build some momentum before we get in the NCAA tournament. I'm wearing my 2024 ACC championship shirt. That was a longer shot than this year, so let's see what happens. But at the end of the day, Ben, who's going to play Duke in the title game?
Well, I do want to tell you that NC State team you're referencing made it to the Final Four, and they were special. That was a lot of fun to watch. So I want to give you guys kudos, Wolfpack and Doug, NC State diehard over there. I don't know. I mean, obviously it depends who's seated where, right? Like which region or whatnot. Michigan has the size to make the run and the defense.
Not yet. ACC tournament, not NCAA.
Oh,
tournament.
I thought you said
we'll
national.
Talk about the NCAA
I'm sorry.
next week. That's okay.
Well, fine, Doug. Fine. You always want to keep it right in our hometown. I appreciate that. Actually, I think on a bigger scale. No, not at all. I think first of all, it's super cool that you and Winslow are going up there to hang out. I think that's going to be amazing. I'm super envious. nobody's beating Duke. It's just not going to happen. I don't. We can talk about long shots or miracles or whatever. Duke would literally have to be sleepwalking, or everybody get the flu, or everybody's hurt for them not to win the ACC tournament this year. They're that good. They're that good nationally. It's not even close, in my opinion. So hopefully my Louisville Cardinals can make some noise. I think we play the winner of Syracuse and SMU. So if you get a chance to watch my boys play live, Doug, send me some pictures and let me see how much fun you're having.
I believe they will actually play right after us tomorrow. We play at noon. We're on the same side of the bracket. So if we both get hot, we could end up playing each other. Basically, if we win, whoever we play tomorrow, we would play Virginia. I think if y'all win, whoever you play tomorrow, you would play Miami. And then the winner of those two games would play each other for the right to get squashed by Duke in the final. Duke's got Carolina on their side of the bracket and whoever else. So we'll see how it plays out. Unfortunately, I think Duke is probably going to run the table. They just look way too dominant. But we've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. So we'll see what happens. That's why they play the games, baby. Let's go.
Hey, Doug,
roll out that TV into the classroom and let's watch the ACC tournament.
That's the only thing I miss about school. That was so cool. When the TV came in. Hey, listen, I got a quick question for you, though, Doug. Does NC State need to win a couple games at all to make the tournament, or are you guys in?
The talking heads seem to think we did enough non-conference by having a strong enough non-conference schedule to get in. It would be nice to see us win an actual game before we get back to the NCAA tournament, just to maybe set things right, because I feel like we need to hit the reset button. We have looked like garbage the last 3 weeks. So I think for nothing else, I don't think we need to win one. I think we need to win one to set the ship right. I think we're going to get in, it sounds like.
Makes sense.
And obviously you guys are going to get in. I mean, you're going into the tournament and not where you want to be, but in a better position than us. We ended up right there beside each other in the final standing. So let's see what happens. But I'm excited. Even if we don't go have a great run, it is what it is. It's not going to take away the fact that this is the best sports time of the year. And I'm just so geeked for March Madness.
Amen, brother.
And next week we will look at the brackets. And you can finally decide who's going to be in your Final Four and who's going to take on Duke in the national championship game.
I'm only going to talk about the ACC tournament from here on out. I don't care. It could be Final Four week, and I'm only going to talk about what happened to the ACC tournament. I'm done.
Well, hopefully we've got some upsets to talk about, so we've got some fun stuff to recap next week. But until then, brother, it's the closing table. All the docs are signed. The deeds recorded. We are closed. Thanks again to our presenting sponsors, Cornerstone Home Lending and Lend with Ben and the Oceanaire Realty. And until next time, like, subscribe, share, comment. We'd love to talk about topics you're interested in. We'll see you next week.